Today, we are taking a huge stack of research, and we're focusing all our attention on, well, one of the great global constants.
Coffee.
It really is.
I mean, it's this beverage consumed in just massive volumes by people starting their day, pushing through a deadline, or maybe just looking for a quiet moment.
The reach of this drink is pretty unique. It really does transcend culture and time zones.
Yeah.
We found in the material that, while that morning ritual is sacred for so many people, others really rely on it to conquer that post-lunch dip.
Yeah.
Or, as fuel for late-night creative work, for studying. It's always there, performing some kind of role.
And that's really the mission today. We wanted to look past the taste, whether you like a dark roast or a fancy latte, and really get at the full global power of this daily habit. The material frames coffee as so much more than just a drink. It's an essential ritual. So we need to quickly extract the 5 main benefits we found, covering everything from, chemical function to its impact on our social lives. And the goal here is thoroughness and speed. We're synthesizing the impact on the body, the mind, and even the community structures we all rely on. Okay, let's unpack this. And let's start exactly where most people start their day, with that chemical kickstart.
Right. So the immediate driving factor is energy and focus. But to be, really well informed on this, we need to understand the mechanism behind it.
Okay.
Caffeine is a remarkable chemical mimic. It acts as an antagonist to something called adenosine. Now, adenosine is the natural chemical in your body that gradually builds up over the day. It's what signals fatigue, makes you feel sleepy.
So wait, instead of giving you new energy, it's actually just hijacking the signals that are telling your brain to rest.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. Caffeine binds to the same receptors where adenosine would normally dock, but doesn't activate them. It blocks the signal.
And the result is that your central nervous system becomes more active,
Right.
which leads directly to that increased alertness, that improved concentration we all associate with the first cup. It helps you get switched on, ready to tackle a complex task.
That makes complete sense for productivity, but the research immediately balances that benefit with a pretty critical warning. I mean, if we're just blocking the system that signals rest, there has to be a point where that becomes a bad thing.
Absolutely. All the reports stress balance. Too much caffeine leads to an overstimulation of the central nervous system. That feeling of increased alertness can very quickly cross a threshold into nervousness, jitters, or even outright anxiety. The dose matters immensely. That's why the practical rule of thumb they cite suggests 1 or 2 cups, ideally in the morning, is really the sweet spot. You maximize the focus without triggering that stress response. Okay, so we need the activation, but not that frantic, jittery feeling. Now, moving on from sheer focus, the reports also highlight a major psychological piece: mood elevation. And this feels like it's far more complex than just feeling awake.
It is. It's much more complex. This is where dopamine and serotonin come into play, the key neurotransmitters we associate with pleasure and well-being.
The feel-good chemicals.
Exactly. So while caffeine is busy blocking adenosine, it's also stimulating the adrenal glands. This triggers a release of adrenaline, and that whole cascade pathway increases the activity of dopaminergic neurons in the brain.
So the same chemical lift that blocks tiredness also, kind of indirectly, floods your system with a sense of pleasure and positivity.
It provides a reliable, repeatable boost of those feel-good chemicals, and it links that positive state directly to the physical act of drinking the coffee.
This connection explains why the ritual itself is so entrenched. It's not just a perceived feeling of comfort. There's a chemical assurance of a better mood built right in.
So that feeling of my day doesn't start until I have my coffee is actually, it's backed by neuroscience.
Exactly. It's a really powerful positive feedback loop.
Okay, so we've established the short-term psychological and chemical burst, but what about the long game? I found it truly fascinating that the source material suggests this daily habit might offer a literal physical defense mechanism. Let's move to this idea of coffee as a physical shield. This brings us to the health advantages, and they are substantial. This is primarily due to one key finding. Coffee is just loaded with antioxidants.
Antioxidants, right.
And it's not just a generic health statement. The sources specify that coffee is a major source of a really powerful compound called chlorogenic acid.
Chlorogenic acid.
Yeah.
Why is that specific compound so important for our audience to know about? Well, chlorogenic acids are phenomenal at neutralizing free radicals in the body. Free radicals are these unstable molecules that contribute to oxidative stress, which in turn leads to cellular damage and aging.
So coffee is helping protect your cells from internal damage every day.
On a daily basis, yes.
And this protection, it scales up, right?
Yeah.
It could potentially mitigate some really serious disease risks, which is a major takeaway here. What were the specific diseases mentioned in the research?
The studies show strong associations, and I'll stress associations, between regular, moderate consumption and potentially lowered risks for certain chronic, serious diseases. Specifically, we're talking about reducing the risk markers for heart problems, type 2 diabetes, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's disease.
That's powerful information for a drink that's so common.
Mm.
But you did emphasize association. Is there a crucial balance point we need to make really clear here?
Absolutely. This is so important. The research is very clear in cautioning against treating coffee as some kind of magic bullet. It is a contributing factor, not a replacement for fundamental health practices. If you are drinking coffee but you're neglecting sleep, eating processed food, not hydrating with water, the benefits are negligible.
So coffee enhances a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix an unhealthy one.
That's the perfect summary. It's an accelerator, not an engine replacement.
Right.
Well put.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's leave the molecules and the neurology behind for a minute and look at, well, human behavior, the environment. Let's shift to the core value of the daily ritual and connection. This is something that's so often overlooked when we just focus on the chemistry.
It really is. And the sources highlight that coffee is a universal social lubricant. I mean, just think about that simple phrase, hey, let's grab a coffee.
Yeah, everyone knows what that means.
Globally, it's understood as this low-stakes invitation to connect.
What do you think makes coffee superior to, say, meeting for tea or a business lunch?
Well, it defines a specific short time frame. A coffee meeting is typically quick, it's focused, it's non-committal, unlike dinner or drinks. Right, there's less pressure.
Way less pressure. It creates a structured, neutral setting, a cafe, that is just perfect for conversation without the formality of an office or the intimacy of a private home. People meet up to talk through problems, to share stories, to hash out ideas in this shared community space.
So the ritual itself reinforces community and friendship just by making shared time effortless.
Exactly.
It makes conversation accessible, which feels like a key psychological need, especially in our digital world.
It is a crucial component of modern life. It acts as a context for everything from an intimate confession to, strategic business planning.
And finally, the last benefit brings the focus back entirely to the self, the moment of peace, personal time.
Yes. In our chaotic, constantly busy lives, the coffee ritual often serves as the only necessary scheduled break. It's a time structure that's built right into the day that requires you to stop, if only for 5 minutes, and just breathe, to genuinely enjoy a moment.
I really appreciate how the research frames this. It's the chance to consciously step away from the keyboard, maybe sit by a window, and fully engage your senses with the warmth, the aroma. It provides those crucial few minutes where the brain can actually reset and process without the immediate demand to produce or react to something.
That intentional pause, enforced by the temperature and the ritual of the cup, is a vital act of self-care. And it provides a disproportionately large boost to your resilience and your mental health for the rest of the day.
So if we quickly just look back at what one simple cup seems to achieve. Chemically, it gives you focus, energy, and happiness through that adrenaline pathway. Physically, it provides a layer of cellular protection with that chlorogenic acid. And then psychologically, it offers powerful social connection and an essential moment of personal peace.
That is a really comprehensive package from a simple daily habit. But as we synthesize all this, we have to return to the critical importance of balance, echoing that ultimate warning we found in the research.
Right. We learned that all these benefits are really dependent on mindful use. The biggest drawback, and the one that can sabotage everything else, is sleep deprivation.
Exactly. Consuming coffee too late in the day means that caffeine is still in there, actively blocking those adenosine receptors right when your body requires deep rest.
So it messes with your sleep cycle.
It disrupts the sleep cycle, specifically REM sleep, and that ultimately leads to that tired feeling the next day, the ironic opposite of the very focus we were seeking in the first place.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to consider, maybe during your next coffee break. We've deeply discussed the powerful chemical lifts, the blocking of fatigue signals, the adrenaline, the boost of dopamine. And we've also discussed the powerful social and personal comforts, the structured ritual, the conversation, the peace. So the question we'd encourage you to explore is this: how much of coffee's immense global power lies purely in that chemical lift that blocks adenosine? And how much is derived purely from the established structured ritual and the psychological comfort it offers in a chaotic, always-on world. Try to be mindful of which benefit you are truly seeking during your next cup. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.